This is the Kamvas 16 from Huion, and it is a 1080p 16-inch display, but it has professional standard drawing tablet built in. This is a pen with 8,000 pressure levels, and you can use this to draw directly into your computer. So I have it hooked up here to the desktop, and well, I'm gonna do my full review on it today. You can annotate, you can sign, and you can draw. Having a pen display on a professional's working from home desktop is an absolute must-have. It's fabulous for working from home, and it's great for any professional who works in varied ways. For instance, I'm an educator, but I would really consider myself a creative person as well, making videos like this, working with digital art. So I'm going to rate this on a bunch of professional actions and categories. And full disclosure, of course, they have sent me this out for review, but they haven't had any influence in the content at all. I think all they asked for was some high quality content. I'm going to go with my professional actions, my professional behaviors here as a set of criteria to rate this again. And I'm going to start with thinking and decision making. Thinking with a pen in your hand is something that comes very natural to professionals. So this means that you have a canvas on which you can lay out your thoughts in that most effective thinking tool ever made, the pen. You can lay out flowcharts, you can draw diagrams in seconds directly into the software that you're using, for instance, Microsoft Word. One nice thing about it is it does have a very paper-like feel. There's a kind of soft matte texture there and some high quality nibs, which give it a kind of really professional pen and paper feel to it. Importantly, it's a pen input directly into your PC system, and so there's no friction moving between maybe a tablet that's got a pen input and your main PC. You don't have to upload files to the cloud or bring them down, or even think about snipping from one thing and copy and pasting across to another. You can put the document onto this display and you can draw your diagrams directly in here. And that's what I had been doing for a while I was in between pen displays, was actually working on an Eink tablet and using the cloud to actually cut and paste the drawings into the document. It worked, sure, but it was that extra step, and that extra step, that extra friction can get in the way of your thinking and decision making. So the closer and the smoother, the more streamlined any process is, will always help you stay focused, stay in that flow state, and really make better decisions. Get less interruption to your flow. That's important for doing your best work. I'm going to give it an 8 for this category. For communication, it's also going to be absolutely fabulous, because for any kind of professional writing, which I'm doing, for instance, a set of questions for a physics book, I can actually put in my sketch diagrams directly into my Word document. So I've got my question typed up, and then I can also add in a drawing using the drawing canvas here, and I can draw that directly in there for the artist eventually to work that up to the diagrams that will appear in the final book. And the nice thing about that is because all of these are actually selectable, and you can resize them, you can edit the actual drawings themselves at a later date whilst they're in MS Word, rather than having a sort of copied and pasted from a different device or a different program. Rather having you kind of just screenshot, which you then can't do any editing with afterwards. Particularly, you can't change bits of it very easily. You've got this in there in the Microsoft Pen tools, for example. The very best use case of this for communication, of course, is for presenting. So a lot during the pandemic, I taught in this way, where I would actually have my PowerPoint. I would have my PowerPoint displaying on this screen here. I would share this out to the internet, share this out on Teams, and if there was a question, I could actually annotate that and work with I could annotate, I could model, and I could display answers. I could draw diagrams. I could teach really naturally through the screen here, and the children at home got that displayed on their own screen, and it was a really natural way to teach. You can communicate really complex ideas with just a few strokes of a pen. It's a really natural way that you're used to communicating. It was great for algebra, it was great for drawing diagrams, and honestly, lessons were really effective because the students were able to see my pen marks in just the same way as if I was working on a board in front of them. Maybe even better, actually, because I wasn't having to turn around and check their engagement. They were just able to see just my pen marks and focus on those. I could work on Word documents, on PDFs. You know, if they had worksheets in front of them, then I could be working on the same worksheet in Word filling out questions in the same way that they were with their pens on their paper. The nice thing, because it's attached to the main computer, it made streaming that as your whiteboard, that as your shared screen, it made it an absolute doddle. So simple and easy to work remotely. You want one of these if you have to present remotely. If you have to do webinars, simply share this as an extra screen and you can annotate your PowerPoints, you can highlight bits, you can work on documents, and you can choose to pop whatever you want just onto the screen. It isn't a case of having to share an individual window. You can just share that as a screen and know that's what they're looking at. It gets the little red box around it when you're sharing. It's a really easy workflow. For communication, I'm definitely going to give this a 9. Collaboration, well, sharing ideas can be really easy with a pen. And if you and your teammates want to collaborate at your desks, but remotely, then this is a really easy way to do it. It could be around an MS whiteboard, it could be maybe MS OneNote, it could be any kind of notebook app that you can share ideas. You could be simultaneously working on one document and you're able to quickly input your own handwritten ideas and notes. Now, we work really well by just sharing quick ideas with sketches and quick notes. Having the use of the pen can really help you communicate and develop your ideas quickly. Again, if you want to collaborate via the internet, this is a must. I'm going to give it a 7 for collaboration. For reading and learning, although this isn't really a reading tool, if you're someone who likes to read and annotate and highlight, this can be a great tool. You can call up a PDF and you can read and you can highlight with the pen. In whichever reader or editor you want to use. It's going to tie you to the desk if you wanted to read on that, and I wouldn't really recommend reading for any long periods of time on an LCD screen, but it certainly will allow you to digest information and use it directly on your main PC, which is a nice thing. I'd love it if one of these companies, Huion or Wacom or XP Pen, actually came out with a large screen drawing tablet with an e-ink screen. Now, that might be pretty niche for now, and okay, you know, I'm pretty biased towards e-ink as a reading tool, but really to be able to have this screen, or maybe another one with an e-ink panel that you could actually draw on with all of that excellent pressure levels directly into your computer could be really nice. I'm probably the only one asking for it right now. It might be pretty niche, and maybe the big Boox tablets are actually just good enough for reading on at the minute. And of course you have that portability that you can carry this wherever you are and carry on reading wherever you are. So for reading, no, this is not going to be a solution, but there are some nice things. I'm going to give it a 5. For planning and organization, just to have this here on the side of the desk, this could simply be your scratch pad. You could just have this as a note, like that though. You do sticky notes. You could just scribble on the sticky note there. This could be whilst you're working out your calculations. A really quick way to make those quick thinking notes to yourself. You could have your to-do list on there that you could of course tick off as you go. This could be your one-stop kind of notepad on the side of your desk as well. And it's a lovely big screen, and of course you can use it for so many different ways. So I actually quite like this. You could keep memos, you could keep checklists, you could just use it as a scratch pad. Some things are just quicker with a pen, and your own notes to yourself in your own handwriting are always the fastest, the most natural and streamlined way just to make your plans, or your quick notes to yourself to do this later, your quick ideas that you can develop later. So I really do like this as a pen input for planning and organization. Again, there's something about using an e-note, an e-ink tablet, or any small tablet, or just even your phone, something portable that you can have as your planner. And when some of these integrate better with Microsoft or whatever software you use on your computer, then maybe that is better for you in the longer run. Maybe you're a Mac user, and an iPad with Apple Notes is really, really useful as that scratch pad, because that does come through into your Mac as well on your Apple user. But I'm going to give it a good round 7 for planning and organization, because it certainly could become a useful thing to organize your working from home. Innovation and creation. This is the big one for it, and if you have any creative element to your own work, this is a must-have on your desk. It's got a great screen feel, I've talked about that already, and importantly it's got a great stand, right? So one thing I liked about it compared to my previous one is that now this is a bit more of an upright stand, a bit more of a kind of natural for both looking as well as for annotating on. It's a bit more of a natural position as well. And of course the main use of this is for drawing. So let's go ahead and get Photoshop going. And well, yeah, I'm just going to make a drawing. This is the usefulness that now I can move this into a more natural position for drawing. Yeah, nice. And now I've got it in this position, I can call up a new drawing here. I can have all my tools at the top there. I can have my drawing here on the canvas. How on earth have I managed to move my start menu to the bottom there? I have no idea. Anyway, I'm going to find out why that's there, and I'm going to make a little sketch, and I'll just capture the screen, I think. So it's nice, I have my reference image in Photoshop on this screen as well. I've got my tools on this screen, and I've got just my drawing canvas down here on the Canvas 16. It's pretty ambitious for a first bit of digital art for a while, like actual proper drawing for a while. We will see, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to promise the earth on this one, but you know, let's just go for it. It's going to be a bit of fun, right? It's nice. It really is nice. Such a long time since I've drawn properly in Photoshop. Okay, I'm gonna stop there, not because it's finished, but because, you know, that's as good as it's gonna get today. It's not a bad little effect really, but the point is that I've really enjoyed that, and yeah, that is something that I want to do more of. This Huion tablet has made me want to sit and sketch more. I am going to do more of this. If you're a creative person, and this is the real use case of this is not going to be my use case in the near future for most things, although I'm going to love doing more of this. Innovation and creation is what this is all about, and I'm going to give it a 9. The only reason I'm going to give it a 9 is because, look, you could buy bigger. This might not be the right one for you. This is one that you have to plug into a big computer, not big computer, but you need a good graphics card to run this and run this well. This might not be the ideal solution to you. Maybe an iPad or a good Android tablet for drawing is the right answer for you. For me, hooked up to this big PC with the good graphics card, it's fabulous to have this as well. I'm really impressed. It was a real pleasure to use for drawing. The pen nibs were accurate. They were watch this space in terms of digital art from me. Something I loved doing when I was a kid, and you know, my degree is actually in architecture, and I would have loved to use one of these on my computer back then. And now it's just in the realms of like hobby for me, I suppose, digital art, but it certainly is something that this will make a better enjoyment of it for me. Talk about a couple more things just to finish off really, that you've got software that you can actually map out all of these keys to be able to, that you can download. And so if you are a digital artist or whatever your use case really, you'll find a way to customize this to fit into your workflow. I'm so impressed with that. That's Photoshop as a drawing app, but of course there are other drawing apps that you can use as well. You can connect it via this. This is a three-way cable which goes into HDMI and USB for power and USB for the touch but you can also connect that into an Android tablet or another computer just by USB cable, but you also need a USB-C for power as well. So you still need two cables even if you're going into just another computer or an Android or other tablet. You could use it connected to your phone. So actually this will become DeX mode monitor as well, and you'll be able to input with the touch onto DeX mode as well, which could be really, really cool. Let's sum up then. This is going to be really useful for me, even just as a third screen for editing. So I can actually have editing tools on this screen as well. It's just more screen real estate. But then of course for my writing, then to bring the document down onto here and be able to add a sketch or an annotation just with a pen without having to leave the operating system that I'm working on. I can still use things like the voice recognition. I can still use the full desktop apps. It's absolutely fantastic. And of course, the main purpose, digital art, it's a real pleasure to use that as well. It was incredibly easy to set up. The driver was downloaded in seconds and the software is really good as well. The only flaw I've seen so far is that when you boot the computer, for some reason you have to reset what area you want it to be sensitive to, which you would expect it to presume that it wants itself to be the pen display area. Got a great paper-like feel, it's a great screen. The screen is actually really close to the surface, which is a really important thing. So when you're drawing, you feel like you're drawing on the pixels. It doesn't feel like there's a sort of little gap underneath. If you want that, you need to make sure that you're getting a pen display with a laminated screen. So laminated means that essentially the top surface and the touch surface are essentially just one, and so that you really do feel like you're touching the actual pixels that are appearing as paint when you do so. Seems like a really small thing, but the kind of ergonomic pen stand is really, really useful, and you get the extra nibs within there as well with their nib puller. There you go, it's brilliant. And thanks Huion once again for sending that out for review and for making my working from home work life that little bit better.